Good evening, Sharks fans. It is Friday night, October 26, 2018, as the San Jose Sharks rolled into North Carolina to take on the Hurricanes, and we're here to talk about it. Of course, this is Teal Town After Dark, your live and interactive Sharks post-game show, and to be a part of the show, there's multiple ways you can interact with us, chat with us, and fellow Sharks fans in the YouTube chat on the page or the app. Of course, use the hashtag TealTownUSA on the Twitter machine or just at us at TealTownUSA. Make sure you follow us always on our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And with that, I say hello to Ian Reed and AJ Strong. Good evening, guys. This one was started off with a nice finish and ended up with a rough finish, if you catch my drift. So, with that, let's get on with the recap of tonight's game. Sharks riding a 3-game winning streak heading into Raleigh as the Sharks took on the Metropolitan Division leading Carolina Hurricanes. Both teams come with identical records in this matchup tonight. Sharks got on it early as the rookie of sorts, Antti Suomela. His first NHL goal was a beauty from Kane and Burns at 6:37. Ian, my goodness, nice way to get his first goal. You could see he's been trying so hard to get off the NHL schneid.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of really good opportunities so far. He's had a bunch of good games. So it was nice to see him get a goal in that fashion against that team. I think that was just, it really, at least it's one of the positives I'll definitely take from the game. I know that there's probably going to be some grumping about this game, but that's still something. It's a big accomplishment for him, and it's good. It's been long overdue.
Yeah, he's been working very hard and well deserved. AJ, what did you think of Antti's first?
Another net crashing goal. That's what the Sharks proved to be doing. All three of their goals came tonight. This is becoming a routine, a pattern, if you will, that the Sharks just they score from within 5-6 feet of the crease. And Suomela, God love you, kid. Thank God you finally got your first, popped your cherry, and hopefully you can grip the stick a little just a scotch more loosely.
Hopefully that'll start the flow as they keep going. Not just a minute 40 later, Timo Meier bangs home, being wide open on the power play, bangs home a shot from Burns and Erik Karlsson, his 6th of the season. That is your leading scorer in the Team Teal roster. AJ, Timo time is happening quite more frequently than beforehand, and it looked like the Sharks were going to be dominating this game and came out on all cylinders after one period of play.
Oh, they were killing it in the first period. I mean, Meier picks up a goal and a point in his 7th straight game. Again, on the power play, it was one shot. They had one shot on goal, that power play, and it went in. So give it up for Meier. I mean, the dude is just doing it. Burns gets an assist on that, so he has points in 7 straight games. And that it was just, again, on the doorstep. Burns fires in the shot. Meier bangs in the rebound. Boom, boom. That's what Sharks hockey used to be, and I love that they're getting back to that. Crash the net, boys.
Ian, what did you take from the first? Looked all around like this team was in full effort and dominating of sorts too.
Yeah, I mean, this is why it's periods like this where it's hard to be overly concerned about this team, because we know when they're on, they're great. I mean, this is a team in Carolina that's, if you look at the puck possession metrics, Carolina and the Sharks are 1 and 2, and you would have never have known it watching the first period. Well, you'd known the Sharks were really good, but the way they're moving the puck around, this is the frustrating thing about this team, is because you see these glimpses of greatness, and we're still early. Look, it's, the calendar hasn't hit November yet even. So
Right.
it's, you don't want to get too, I mean, I understand people are going to be frustrated by tonight, but when you see these glimpses, I mean, it's hard not to still be excited about this team, even when things kind of go off the rails like they did. The passing was crisp. It was, there's not a time tonight in the first period where I was like, why isn't he shooting? Because I was just mesmerized by how they were moving the puck around so quickly, so seamlessly. It was something to watch.
Yes.
Precisely. Go ahead, AJ. I'm sorry.
No, just to kind of put a bow on the first period, I mean, some of the notes that I had were the fact that Carolina was owning the circle 60% to 40, and that would only get worse as the game progressed. But at the end of it, Sharks out shooting them 11-8. This is, from what I remember, if I recall correctly, this is the first game that the Sharks have played in that they didn't outshoot their opponent, which is a little odd. But another note that I had, Dylan only got 3 minutes of ice time in the first period, which I thought was odd, but okay. But Meier was a beast in that first. I mean, the Sharks played a great first period, but Meier, 4 shots on goal plus 6 attempts. I mean, Meier is just really coming to his own this, so in these first, 10 games, it's just unbelievable. But the Sharks just looked really good, and I'm like, oh my God. 2 goals in the first period, 1 on the power play, and I'm like feeling really good about this game. And then the second period happened.
Right. And to kind of piggyback back on the Dylan comment, the Sharks rolled with brand new defensive pairs on the night. Vlasic and Braun were reunited again. Burns and Ryan were still together, but also Dylan and Erik Karlsson. So the one thing that I think a lot of people were mentioning when this trade happens, that you could have Vlasic, Karlsson, and Burns on the ice for the entire game, in theory, of course, looks like that was part of the plan tonight. Of course, also the lineup change was Dylan Gambrell getting in for Rourke Chartier as well. But guys, defensively, as we begin to talk about the second period and Dougie Hamilton scoring his first goal as a Carolina Hurricane at 1:12 from Ferland and Teravainen, defensively, did you notice anything different? Did you notice chemistry off?
I noticed that they stopped playing defense in the second period, it felt like. I mean, geez, so many giveaways. And it's hard to fault Dell for that Hamilton goal, because fires it from the high up on the circle, and Burns deflects it high.
And the thing with Dell too, I mean, when you make over 30 saves in a night, that's a good night for an NHL goalie. If you're going to get peppered with shots like that.
I haven't seen the stars yet, but Dell should get one.
Yeah, like I think with the way it's easy. It's a lot easier to get upset at previous goaltending performances, because the Sharks were massively out shooting, and it seemed like no matter what went at the Sharks net, it went in. Whereas, Aaron Dell made a lot of really strong saves today. He made, he did a lot of really strong things. I thought he's positionally pretty sound, and I like Dell because he's a pretty even goalie, doesn't seem to get rattled.
He's okay.
He's the world's most okayest goalie, as we all know. And he has the best gear. Like if gear determines starter, Aaron Dell would be the starter all day, every day. But when you make over 30 saves in a night, I mean that's a good night for a goalie in the NHL. I really don't fault Dell for this at all.
No, to me, the only one that was that Dell, maybe you go, okay, and again, I can't fault him for it, but the Teravainen shot that he when he got the pass from Aho, that was it. But the other 2 goals that Dell let in, those are on the boys in front of him.
Well, yeah, I think, and that's the thing, right? Like, to me, the way it looked like my kind of thoughts on the second as it started was, okay, this, because I think Carolina's a really well coached team. And I think they kind of measured the Sharks in the first period, and then they came back obviously went to the locker room and came back out with a game plan to, to kind of turn the tides. And I just think that the Sharks, did they stop playing? Yeah, I think they got frustrated. I think they, their plan was working so well. And this is the thing that I've always had a problem with Peter DeBoer is he doesn't really make good adjustments on the fly. So the Carolina Hurricanes come out and they change their game a little bit and they kind of get back to basics, and the Sharks don't know what to do about it. And then by the end of the second, they're just completely, it seemed like they're just frustrated. Obviously, Carolina's forcing their new defensive pairs to look stupid, which I think they were to begin with, but hey, what do I know?
So continuing on with the recap of the second period, things got better. The Sharks got a power play. Tomas Hertl bangs one in before he got banged up. His fourth on the season from Couture and LeBanc. San Jose 3, Carolina 1. Kind of just calmed everything down a bit as the Carolina Hurricanes were just coming on like a Category 5. And it seemed like they were getting...
How long you've had that in your back pocket, bro?
Oh, come on. Just wait. Just wait.
It should be stated, though, as just to piggyback on what Ian was saying, Carolina made adjustments and came out gangbusters in that first. They outshot in the first 5 minutes the Sharks. Outshot them 4-1. And if Walmart doesn't slash Couture and put the Sharks on the power play, maybe it's actually even worse for the Sharks if that penalty isn't called. So, but LeBanc to Couture to Hertl again on the doorstep. Nice tic-tac-toe play from those three.
And all you Kevin LeBanc haters, I don't get it, because all he does is just make stupid good passes, and the drop passes are systemic. I'm just gonna point that out because I feel the need to be the champion of Kevin LeBanc now. Take that, Chad.
Waiting for
That's
the Sharks to put out
waiting
for the Sharks to put out a LeBanc bobblehead that he can lick.
Oh,
I'd be all over that.
No.
Make it happen.
They have the LeBanc piggy bank coming on later this season. We'll have to get that out to him for sure.
All right. I will lick the piggy bank if that's what needs to be done.
There we go. And then you can just donate the money we need to keep Erik Karlsson and Teal. Unfortunately, after the Hertl goal, a high-pressure system built in as Brock McGinn, the one McGinn the Sharks haven't had, scored an unassisted goal as a defensive miscue, I guess you could say. Makes them pay. 10:07. Carolina's got new life. It's 3-2, and Ian, you already saw the tides rising as we took warning on the hurricane that was about to arrive.
Do you need me to queue up the Scorpions? I mean, is there any really? Jeez. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ian.
I mean, yeah. Look, these. I mean, this team is good. This Carolina team is actually good. And if you let them, hang around like you did, and you kind of let them back into the game like you did, and you can adjust to, what they're doing to slow them back down. I mean, this is what they're gonna do. This is a well-coached team. I think that the one thing that you're seeing this year from the Hurricanes from last year was they kind of just threw everything at the net. It didn't matter if it was good shot, bad shot, ugly shot, completely useless shot. Everything just went to the net. They're a lot more. I find they're just a lot more methodical on what goes on the net now. They just play a better. Rod Brind'Amour has brought in a better offensive system, and yeah, it is what it is. We learned that tonight the hard way.
And to pile on to that, we just have a quote in from Pete DeBoer that says, "What a tale of two games. I walked out at the end of the first period, thought we could have been up 4-0, and then we never won another race or battle or shift the rest of the evening." And he's completely right. And you even throw in, after Hertl scores that goal, Ferland slashes Sorensen, and for me, that power play, it only lasted a minute because then Karlsson slashed Slavin, but the power play for me looked really cocky. And I don't know if that was just me. And they gave up a huge shorthanded attempt that I was blown away by that. But that McGinn goal, holy hell! Again, that's one that I don't put on Dell. I mean, Dell dishes off to Carlson. Clearly, it looked like, well, at least to me, it looked like Carlson was trying to put it behind Dylan and rim it around the boards. Dell picks up the hot pass and just gets crossed up with Dell. Next thing you know, it's behind him. But
right.
It had shades of Urbe written all over it from 25 years ago. Yeah, just a little miscue there, unfortunately.
The amazing adventures of Alex Daylock.
Oh, yes.
There's no key for this Daylock.
Yes. And if you can find it, it's in St. Paul, Minnesota. And then
I just remember, I think it was Chester made the storybook cover with the wonderful adventures, and I always think of that whenever a goalie wanders out of position.
Oh, good times. Going through Flashback Friday. I almost said Throwback Thursday. Speaking of things that have initials of TT, Teuvo Teravainen gets his second goal on the season at 15-14 from Sebastian Aho. No, you're not Aho. 15-14 the time. Carolina dominating here as we finish up the period 3-3 after 2 periods. I mean, we kind of saw this coming.
Well, you saw it coming because and Aho gets a point in his 10th straight game.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. One more, and I believe he ties Brindamore for the Whalers Hurricanes franchise record. So, good for you. But the Sharks just fell asleep in the second, and after getting a shot on goal in the first 5 minutes, the Sharks then went 10 straight minutes with no shots on goal. And you're kind of like, what the hell happened to this team? Like, everybody went to bed after Hertl scored. And again, like I was saying earlier, it felt like that calmed everything down. The Sharks were feeling themselves again. Oh, okay, no problem. We got this. We had that little hiccup in the first minute, but we're good. And then Teravainen ties it up, and it just got worse as that second period progressed because it finished the first period finishes 40-60 on the power play. Or I'm sorry, not on the power play. 40-60. Boy, wouldn't that be a fun game to watch?
That'd be a fun game.
But finishes 40-60 in the circle. Then it's 38% to 63% after 2 periods, so it's getting worse. And then the shot clock almost inverted in the second period. The 8 shots on goal for Carolina in the first, and then 16 in the second, whereas the Sharks, 11 shots in the first, 5 in the second. And you're going, what's up, Eric?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was like a complete reversal of fortune here for the Sharks, as they just wait, what? It's that meme where you have the guy go, what? Unfortunately, in the third period, and it was pretty much the same. And guys, I'll start with you. Was it tiredness? Was it conditioning? I mean, we've heard talks that there's been a bit of a flu going around the team. Of course, no Tomas Hertl, so we had the line blender going on as well. And to be honest, I think we even had the defensive pair blender going on. I mean, we went full on Jamba Juice here. It's just, 11-5 in the third period, guys. And AJ, third period. Holy crap, what the heck? I mean, they essentially the last 40 minutes, they got outshot 27-10.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And again, faceoffs got even worse. By the end of the game, then it was 36 to 64%. So I don't know what was going on with the Sharks in the final 40 minutes of this game. Just like Pete DeBoer said, after the first period, everything was coming up roses, and then after that, couldn't win a battle. Again, like you had pointed out, Hertl mysteriously disappears. Wasn't for a while like Braun kind of MIA for like a couple minutes. There was somebody. I thought it was Braun. But anyway, Hertl, mysterious injury of some sort. And I hate to call it out. Dylan after that ridiculously awesome coast-to-coast shorty, turns around and has one of his worst games, in my opinion. Especially in the third. He could not corral that puck to save his life. It was as soon as him and Carlson, or as soon as he got crossed up with Dell and the puck ended up in the net, like his confidence, it felt like it just bottomed out. And of course, the defensive line blender probably didn't help things in that regard. And I get what PDB's doing, trying to find some sort of spark, but sometimes I'm more of the viewpoint that you have to let guys play through it versus just, oh, okay, it's not working, so let's just start jumbling all the pieces. And I'm just one of those guys that feels like you got to play through it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I chalk a lot of it up to, I think, frustration, but I think it is important to note that guys have been missing skates and stuff. So, I mean, if there's a bug going around, maybe they exerted a little too much in the first and didn't leave anything in the tank for the rest of the game. I think, I don't buy that as an excuse, but I think it's a viable explanation if you do have guys that are playing with the flu. Playing with the flu sucks. Doing anything with the flu sucks. I mean, I don't want to get out of bed when I have the flu, let alone go, skate really, really hard for 20 seconds. No, I'll pass on that. Thanks. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just like a bug, but I think a lot of it was frustration. And then I think when I think this is the problem with the Sharks is that with the new pieces that have come in and obviously having Jumbo, I mean, they've obviously had to make adjustments to try and find chemistry in places, or they go back to what's familiar. I don't think anything's familiar for them right now when you playing with a different defensive partner. Especially, like, I'm not saying it's Dylan's fault. Like, okay, Dylan, you couldn't play with Erik Karlsson very well tonight. That's bad you. But I don't blame him for that. I just think that it changes things when you get a steady partner, and you gotta give Dylan a lot of credit. He's played with a lot of guys over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Between it was Schlemko, and then it was DeMello, and now he's been playing with Braun. I mean, I give Brendan Dillon a lot of credit because I think he's had a rotating door of partners, and I think he's generally handled himself well enough considering.
Don't forget like Tim Heed for a couple,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tim Heed for 5 minutes. I don't hate this. Like, I understand how, like, again, people want to go back to what's familiar. Oh, Braun and Vlasic are so good together, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think they looked fantastic together tonight. Like, I don't know. And maybe I'm just not a Justin Braun guy. Like, maybe I just think he's incredibly overrated based on his skill set. I think he's a good enough defenseman. I think Vlasic makes him better, honestly. Like, I think he could go somewhere else, and I'm not sure he would be as good. So I don't get this, Vlasic must play with Braun and how people keep pining for this. I think that, yeah, there's been some hiccups along the way, and Vlasic has definitely made some mistakes that he normally wouldn't make trying to figure out his game with Karlsson, but I still think you let them figure it out because their games mesh together. Like, I don't understand what you're supposed to do. Like, Brandon Dillon cannot play Erik Karlsson minutes, and all the defensemen can't have their minutes if you're going to spread them out on 3 lines. I don't know. Peter DeBoer's got to figure this out, but I don't feel like, I feel like this, Karlsson Dillon experiment was just an overreaction on the coaching staff, personally.
Well, and I don't think that a lot of people expected after 10 games for Karlsson to lead the Sharks I guess I shouldn't say lead the Sharks, but be in the basement with the plus minus, but it's
funny though, because if like that, and that number for me, like, that number kind of surprises me. It's like one of those times where you look at the number and go, oh shit, damn, like, mm-hmm. Wow, minus that money, eh? Because again, like, I don't really have a lot of complaints with Karlsson's game so far. I think you can tell Karlsson's frustrated that he hasn't really got things going, but there's been a lot of things Karlsson's done that I really liked. Like the once I think that they've kind of started to figure out the power play now, and that's a big plus. Like, I don't know, it's way too early to be as on Erik Karlsson as I think some of the fan base is.
Yeah.
My opinion.
And Chris pointing out plus minus is trash. I'm not saying that's the end all be all of statistics. I'm just saying it's one of several, and you would expect more from a large amount of people call the best defenseman in the league. So anyway, I feel like we're starting to spiral, so maybe we should move to a couple things.
Yeah, continue on, and kind of Felix saying that's what happened when you trade for Erik Karlsson type player. You wonder if they're starting to get too cute, overconfident, fancy with the lines, or for that matter, maybe trying a little too hard. I mean, we saw the interview with Bakes pregame, and he kind of was on himself a little bit because he was having a schneid there. So,
but I think again, is like. Too cute, really? Erik Karlsson made this team too cute. This team's been too fucking cute forever. Like, how many years has this team been too cute? This is not an Erik Karlsson problem. This is the Sharks have always been too cute, especially on the power play.
How many times have we heard that phrase uttered by Drew Remenda?
Yeah,
way too many.
Yeah,
and that's it. And I apologize for my language, but I just like it frustrates me because I feel like. These are the narratives that are being spun, and they're just that, they're narrative, because it's like it goes back to my favorite night, Kevin LeBanc. Everyone always like, oh, that drop pass in the neutral zone. Everybody on the team makes that stupid drop pass in the neutral zone. It's a systemic issue. It's part of Peter DeBoer's system, that stupid drop pass. But Kevin LeBanc's the one that seems to take the heat for it. I think this is I think Erik Karlsson's taking heat for things that. I agree. He's frustrated. Maybe he's not playing. He hasn't played his best hockey, but I don't know. Anyone who's like thinks that this was like a huge mistake of a trade is out of their mind.
Yeah, no.
Out of their bloody mind.
No, I'm not calling that whatsoever. I am going to give myself one of the foreseen pats on the back, because if we go back, I think if we go back one game on After Dark, not only did I say I picked this game to be or actually it wasn't. After the Islanders? After the Islanders game, I remember saying I thought that the Carolina game would be a perfect time to get Dell in net. So I wasn't shocked to see him get this start by any stretch. And I've also, for the last couple games and on Twitter, been calling for Gambrell to get in. Finally got in. Thank you. I thought Charche first 4 or 5 games looked good. Wasn't stinking up the joint, wasn't making bad plays, but it seemed as it progressed, not that he was making bad plays, but just wasn't generating enough. And then when you saw what Gambrell was doing with the CUDA, it was kind of like, okay, we've got to give him a look at least,
Well, not only that, I mean, you got to get this kid games. You can't just sit him in the press box and then be like, why did this guy end up being a bust? Maybe because he sat in the press box for a season and,
exactly.
And played the occasional Barracuda game. Like, I think Peter DeBoer getting him in the game, I think that was important. I don't know what any of his metrics looked like this game, but the fact, just get him on the ice and let him play. This one-off, we're home and the Barracuda have to be playing tonight, so down you go nonsense. Like, it sucks because I think this guy has a ton of potential to be a really good player for the Sharks, but he's not going to get there sitting in the press box.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody can be John Scott, where you spend half your season in the press box and yet still are the all-star MVP. I mean, not everybody can, it's a
not
hard
everyone
thing to
has
pull
that
off.
ability.
It's very hard to pull off. But
it is.
Hey, Eric, why don't you welcome in the new peoples?
Yes, we welcome those of you who finished watching Brody and Ray Ratto.
Like that wasn't uncomfortable whatsoever.
I was waiting for a Twitter mission, to be honest, and I was like, okay, maybe not. Probably not the best idea. Anyways, we welcome those of you who finished watching the NBC sports broadcast. The Sharks lose this one 4-3 over the Carolina Hurricanes in a shootout. We welcome you to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live and interactive Sharks post-game show. Do us a favor, if you haven't hit it already, hit that, or as Chris says, smash that subscribe button down below. Also, ring that bell because you will get a notification, whether on your phone, your iPad, or whatever, that we are on the air. So by all means, do that right then and there. We did surpass the 1,000 subscriber mark, and we thank you for that very much. Definitely hit out at tealtownusa.com for a lot more stuff on there. Felix, Ian will write a ton for us, so we appreciate all their contributions. Of course,
and I appreciate you not singing the words.com.
Whatever.
Just saying.
You know what? I could go full on Weather Channel instead.
I can go full on mute button. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. And I wouldn't notice it either, folks. Anywho, let's finish up in the shootout. Sharks had a number of chances. Didn't get much on there. Carolina definitely had a lot of chances. At the end, Fogel's stick gets lifted by Burns, makes contact with Dell. A lot of people were saying, where's the penalty? It was Burns' high stick. But Dell...
Well, it worked for PK Subban, so what the hell?
Well, oh, no, it didn't. It did not.
Well,
because Vlasic is a fakey faker who should be going to Vancouver.
Well, the other thing, too, is it was, I think, in the final 5 minutes of the third period, in the corner, Dylan took a high stick and there was no call. So it was almost kind of I thought the officiating was more than adequate tonight.
That's fine. I didn't. When Dell got run there, I don't think the really, that's being the goalie, right? You're in the net. Sticks are going crazy looking for the puck. I didn't see anything malicious where it was like, oh man, that guy totally tried to kill Dell. I think it was, like you said, it was either our own stick or our stick lifted the other player's stick into it. I didn't see a penalty there.
Earlier in the game, you had Sorensen, totally run into Zarek. No call.
Yep.
It was a well called game tonight.
Yeah, definitely all around a good game all around. Unfortunately for the Sharks, it just fell apart in the last 40 minutes. So they go into the shootout. Brock McGinn does it to them again as scoring the lone goal on the evening, spoiling the Sharks' chances of extending their winning streak. They win. Carolina wins 4-3. Your final stats on the night. Carolina out shooting San Jose 41-23. My goodness, if you thought that was bad, this one's bad too. And the face-off, 61% for Carolina, 39% for San Jose. On the good news, the Sharks go 2 for 3 on the power play. They have scored 6 power play goals in their last 4 games. The hits were
huge.
It's huge.
But the problem being, those shots on goal in the 5-minute overtime, Sharks were outshot 6-2.
Yeah, and that's the tough part. That is the tough part for to get any chances going there. So,
PDB, I'm unimpressed with your 750th game.
Right?
It's very unimpressive.
Let's see, hits 30-22 in favor of Carolina, 16-12 in favor of the Sharks and blocks. Giveaways 13-10 in favor of Carolina on there. On the Sharks, Aaron Dell, 38 saves on 41 shots. Played a heck of
damn good night.
It was a really good night all around for Dell. Unfortunately, he just doesn't get the victory. Burns with another 2-point night. He's had a great one. Your goal scorer, Suomela, with his first goal of the season. Timo Meier is your leading goal scorer on the team with his 6th. We don't know what is going on with Hertl. We haven't seen anything pop out just yet. Hopefully it is nothing too serious.
Checking nothing below the waist.
Right.
How rude.
But apparently DeBoer mentioned that he might have re-aggravated something. So that's been a concern. Remember, he's been playing with something all season. He's had some maintenance days on there as well.
The 3 stars have come out. McGinn, 3rd star. Hamilton, 2nd star. Teravainen, 1st star. You want to talk about some home cooking, that Aaron Dell does not get a star? And are you kidding me? But that's the way it goes.
Home beat writer does the Stars.
Yep. So of course, little bit of home cooking in there. But what are you gonna do? Let me ask you about this though. You had Couture, who I don't know what he was trying to do on the shootout, and then Pavs rings one off the post that very easily could have went in, and Donskoy just misses. But are any of you guys, like Couture, Pavelski, just based on history, completely understand them going in the power or on the shootout? Are you a little surprised based on just streaks over the last 5, 6, 7 games that PDB went with Donskoy and not Timo time, Ian?
No, I feel like Donskoy is a guy that Peter DeBoer, and maybe this is like, I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I feel like Donskoy is usually a go-to guy for DeBoer in the shootout. I feel like if Hertl wasn't not playing, Hertl takes that third shot. But I feel like
has put up a couple like amazing shootout winners.
So I am not surprised he went with Donskoy. I feel like if the shootout would have went longer, then Timo Meier is going to get a crack. But unfortunately, it was, a 3-rounder and done. So I don't read anything into that really. I think it's just Peter DeBoer going with his guys.
All right. Just wondering. So what else is up, Eric?
Well, you know what? Let's just kind of seal the bow on this game here. It would have been 7-3 without Dell, according to Jerry F in the chat. Just another Randy G replied with that, as 7 is a conservative number.
I can't disagree with those comments.
Right. So not to play producer over the air, because that one game that we were looking at is over. Which one do you want to go to, good sir?
The game that just ended.
Game just ended. So.
All right. Here we go, people. Are you ready? All right. Let's talk about them Cudas.
Yes. Your San Jose Barracuda are on the road in San Antonio as they take on the San Antonio Rampage at the San Antonio version of Barclays Center tonight.
Do they have a car?
No car. No, just a massive banner that says Wells Fargo on it, though. In there tonight. For the Barracuda, they got on their why can't I pull this up? Come on. You had no scoring in the first period. You had some chippiness, with Middleton taking a boarding call.
Which Middleton?
Fabry.
There's two.
That's an important point.
That's true. But then in the second period, apparently the guy that's probably the better pickup, and I say this with full sarcasm, of that recent trade with Ottawa, Francis Perron gets his 5th of the season on a 5-on-3 power play from Wood and Waugh to get things going for the Barracuda. That would be your only goal in the second period. In the third, Musil would tie it up for the Rampage from Costin and Stevens at 5:28. On a weird bounce, you talk about weird bounces in the Sharks and Carolina game, on a weird bounce that had the puck go right to Matt Fontaine with the goaltender way out of position from Hertl and Wood at 7:14. That proves to be your game winner as the San Jose Barracuda win 2-1 over the Rampage. Shots on goal, 28-21 in favor of San Antonio. The Barracuda will go 1 for 4 on the power play. San Antonio went 0 for 4. Coronash with 27 saves on 28 shots, as Huso saves 19 of 21. Barracuda.
What's their record right now? They've only lost like 2 games, right?
They've lost a game in overtime, and they just lost their first game in regulation against Stockton on last week.
So
earlier this week, maybe.
Keep doing whatever it is you're doing there, Kuda.
Yeah, so they're at 5-1-0-1 on the campaign for 11 points. So granted, of course, this is the AHL, and I still don't understand how they haven't made the Pacific Division expand to the same amount of games. But their points percentage is at 786. And that's good for first in the Pacific Division of the AHL over newcomer Colorado at 714. However, Tucson has a percentage of 750. So I'm all kinds of confused how they present the standings in the AHL website.
That percentage, points percentage.
See, that's what I thought. Why don't they just go to that?
Well, don't worry. We're going to have a CUDA-specific show soon enough.
Very much so, with a special guest. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. So it's your favorite time and mine, kids. Here we go.
Have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
It's wraparound.
Reach around.
Yep. Agreed to disagree.
Yeah, no kidding. So we do the NHL wraparound, as there were plenty of games on this Friday night in the National Hockey League. Let's get to them. There is one game in progress right now, and that is Matt Duchene returning to Colorado as an Ottawa Senator, and he has scored 2 goals so far for the Ottawa Senators, his second and third of the season. They are tied with the Colorado Avalanche 3-3, about 15 minutes and change to go in the third period. Girard, Rantanen, and Soderberg all getting goals for the Avs. Zingle, and like I said, Duchene with 2 for the Sens.
I think Mikko Rantanen might be one of the most underrated players in the league right now.
Absolutely.
Just throw that out there.
In Vegas, they had an early game to celebrate Nevada Day, and boy, they were very disappointed in that one. Tampa Bay.
Day. How else do you celebrate Nevada Day? What are the hookers half off? I mean, how do you celebrate in Nevada for that?
Not gonna go there. However, where I'm gonna go is, oh my, the Golden Knights. Fire sale, trade them all. Wait, they already have a plentiful of picks already. The Lightning beat the Golden Knights 3-2. The final in that one, JT Miller ends up getting credited with the game-winning goal, his third on the season. Tyler Johnson and Point also score for Tampa Bay. Shea Theodore with his first on the season. Wild Bill Carlson, he gets his third on the season on the power play. Wasn't enough. The Lightning are 7-1-1. The Golden Knights are now 4-5-1 on the campaign.
Golden Knights are better than they look right now, I think. I think that their
the Canucks are worse than their record.
Right. I think I know I'm just going to make people mad because everyone wants to be like, yes, the Golden Knights are just falling off because they're actually dreadful. No, they're better than this. I mean, they played a good team in Tampa Bay tonight. Eric went over the record, 7-1-1, and that's not by accident. Tampa's one of the best teams in the league right now. But I still think, I don't know. I really don't think we're having this conversation about the Golden Knights down the road. About how
I don't think we're
out
having
of the
this
playoffs there.
I don't think we're having this conversation now if they don't get rid of James Neal. I'm just saying, when your nickname is Real Deal. I'm just stirring the pot. Go ahead, Eric.
And as he stirs that lovely pot of chili, in Detroit, oh my goodness, what in the world happened? They lose to the Jets 2-1. Kyle Connor and Dustin Byfuglien get the goals for Winnipeg in I guess you could say, a come from behind victory. Andreas Athanasiou, not happy to see you, gets his fourth on the season. The Jets go to 7-3-1, 15 points in the division. And the Red Wings are at 1-7-2. Oh my.
I think with this game, it's kind of like the game that we just watched. It's the tale of two periods. Detroit came out flying in the first, and then Winnipeg smacked them down in the second, and then in the third, the game just got away from them. Detroit came out, and then Winnipeg got settled, and skill always wins over will.
And they play in Toronto tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
That's the huge hockey night in Canada.
Oh, that should be fun.
Matchup. That'll
Laine versus Matthews. Rah, rah, rah.
Who's better? We'll find out Saturday.
Who's better between two completely different players?
Update from Denver. Gabriel Landeskog has scored his 9th of the season to give Colorado a 4-3 lead with 13-17 to go in the third period. That is your NHL wrap around. So we move on to Sunday at the pond in Quackenheim as the Sharks will get set to finish off this crazy weird road trip, flying cross country to go, from Nashville to Carolina to Anaheim and take on the Ducks at 5 p.m. on Sunday to conflict with the World Series and Sunday Night Football all in one time. What are you looking forward to?
There's other sports? What are you talking about? Get out.
I know. I'm sorry. Aren't the Alouettes and Rough Riders playing at the same time too?
I don't care.
What was
it hockey?
Yeah. Hold on, but off the beaten path for a hot second. Was today travel day in MLB?
No, today is Game 3 of the World Series. That's in Los Angeles right now.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so, if things keep going the way they're going, we don't have to worry about there being a World Series game on Sunday night. I'm just saying. And how great would that be?
You know what that would be, AJ? That'd be wicked awesome.
Yes, that'd be, and the people in LA, to them, that would be a wicked pisser.
Oh boy, we're having too much fun. So Ian set us up Sharks and Ducks in a tight Pacific Division race where we currently
Pacific Division race in October. Really?
Yeah, dude. Like, is Rocket coming on afterwards to do if the playoffs started tomorrow? I mean, give me a break.
Oh.
But Anaheim, I mean, they just lost Silfverberg.
The Anaheim John Gibsons.
Yeah. He's not wrong. He is not wrong.
You aren't wrong. And he's played a hell of a job for them to keep them where they are.
He's the best
even though they
in the
lost
Pacific.
4.
And I'm a little surprised that they retired Korea's number so early in the season. Like, I'm surprised they didn't, do that out a couple months when Anaheim is out of the division and they're looking to try to sell some tickets or something like that. You know what I mean? And I know that they're retiring Niedermayer's number later in this year, but still, I was kind of like, well, that seems like an interesting missed opportunity, but whatever. But I mean, what's your take on the Ducks so far? Because I mean, they started out pretty damn hot despite a ridiculous rash of injuries, and they're still dealing with it. But, well, I guess it's like you said, it's the Anaheim Gibsons.
It's the Anaheim John Gibson. Like, John Gibson is the big reason that this team is where they are. They've suffered a rash of injuries, and it's not a very good team to begin with. Like, yeah. I mean, that's just reality. I mean, it's not a good team to begin with. This team has gotten points that, frankly, they probably didn't deserve. They're getting consistently outshot. And, that's the benefit of having a great goaltender. The problem is not having everything to support it. No, I mean, look, it's
no. I'm
how
just
many
saying,
times have we seen this in the NHL? You have a star goaltender, who just keeps the team's head way above water, higher than it should be. We watched Carey Price do it in Montreal a few years back.
Tuukka Rask has done it.
Tuukka Rask. I mean, it's the benefit of having. Yep, Pekka Rinne is another one. I mean, it's funny how all the elite goalies end up on teams that just don't have anything in front of them.
There was that one game that Ben Bishop had. No, I'm kidding.
Ben Scrivens have an unbelievable game against the Sharks.
That's different.
Come on.
Like, I'm talking consistent game over game over game.
True.
Yeah, and this is not like a
one-off.
It's not and it's not a one, or it's not a that he just had one really good season, like a Steve Mason or something. I mean, Gibson is consistent.
Gibson's consistently been the best goalie in the Pacific probably for the last 3 years.
So what you're saying is like we need to run him in the first 5 mints of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, let's go for the knees. No, I mean, obviously, I'm going to get hurt, but yeah, no.
Why don't you just go full on bounty?
No, I don't think the Sharks don't need to kill Gibson to win this game.
I'm kidding.
This is a team where, again, you see that first period, you know what this team's capable of. If this team can come out flying and and actually sustain it over a game instead of just blowing their wad in the first, they can beat the Ducks. They should beat the Ducks. They should beat the Ducks every time they play them. But John Gibson might have something to say about that.
Well, I think the Sharks hopefully will have something to put now, and they're getting on the flight, and coming back, and and they it's a 6 hour flight to come back from Carolina and Anaheim, blah blah blah. But I'm hoping that the Sharks are going to be motivated after pissing away a win tonight, but also keeping in the back of their minds that the Ducks embarrassed them on their own ice opening night, 5-2. So,
right, and I think the other thing too is, I mean, look at the Ducks. The Ducks aren't a team that's going to let you take a night off. Like those games are always stupid intense. It's just like playing the Kings. Those games are always super intense. Those aren't the nights you take off because you can't, or they'll kill you, and they will hurt you, and they'll punch you in the head.
Chris in the chat, Shane Gibson behind the pond.
Wow. A lot of Gibson was not an issue in the playoffs. Absolutely.
The viewpoints expressed by Chris S. do not represent the rest of the panel here on Teal USA.
I know, and just another energy saying you don't take any games off, and I agree with that sentiment. But I just, these games, you can tell, these players do not like each other. Period, and it's blatantly obvious, especially with the SoCal teams. Ducks, Kings. I mean, those games are always have that extra little spiciness to them.
Yep. Spicy.
Yep. So,
go all Tanya Harding on Gibson.
No, stop it, you guys. That is not nice.
Oh my lord!
All right, let's throw that graphic up in case you missed of this, or you want to watch us, try to figure out how to take out John Gibson, because it's not like we owned him in the playoffs last year or anything. You can do so on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn. But of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, ring that bell, and you'll get notified when we are on the air. With that, final thoughts on where the people can find you, Mr. Ian Reed.
You can find me at Ian Blogs Hockey. I know I've been a little bit quiet lately. I have a few things going on that don't involve talking hockey on the internet, and once those things get settled, I'm sure I will get back into a schedule where I actually start doing things again. But just stay tuned. It's nothing serious. It's a work related thing. It's just keeping me a little more away than I would like to be right now. It is what it is.
Gotcha. In your Twitter handle?
Oh, at Ian Blogs Hockey.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Mr. Strong, your final thoughts on where the people can find you.
I look forward to PDB screaming his head off. From what I've heard and seen either on Twitter and comments, that PDB was not the nicest person during the post-game chat and has good reason to be. I hope he's, spending the first 30 minutes of the flight to Anaheim walking up and down the aisle, just calling guys out saying, you need to be better. There was definitely a couple
I think you should just open the door mid-flight and just walk people to the door and be like, are you in or are you out?
Exactly. Right? There's a couple guys you could just point at and just say, look, Joe Thornton was better than you in tonight's game. Okay? Well, I'm just going to throw that out there. So look forward to finishing up this 3-game roadie in Anaheim. Get back and start to. How many home games have we played? Like 3?
3.
Yeah. So 3, and the month's almost up, and okay, granted we end the month at home, but let's get October off the calendar, start dialing stuff together, and there we go. So as you can see right there, that's my Twitter. It's right there. So that's the same both on Twitter and Instagram. Throw me a follow on there. Also at Teal Town USA on the Instagram, throwing some photos here and there, just having a good time. And don't forget now, this season, new for this season, a day of every game day, we throw up a pregame report that give you in 60 seconds, kind of give you the 411 as to what's going to happen in that evening's game. So you want to get our little pregame report at Instagram. Eric?
Thank you very much, Ian and AJ. I'm, of course, Eric Kura. You can follow me on Twitter at Puckguy14 and on the Instagram. My final thoughts, not the greatest way. We are not St. Louis. Let's stop blowing a 2-goal lead.
Ouch. And even Chris jumping in, Brendan Dillon would have to sit the entire flight in the bathroom. And that's not easy. Those bathrooms are small, and Brendan Dillon's 6'4", so what are you going
to do? Davey is going to say there's a really bad idea to open the cabin door mid-flight at 35,000 feet. Yes, I agree. Jerry F.
I on TV, it's fine.
Hey,
yeah, on TV.
Can always
TV never lies.
Somewhere, Eric brings up St. Louis. They can descend midway through to about 3,500, and there you go.
Oh, and then there's the LA Kings. So with that, we will be back with you following Sharks and Ducks on a Sunday night. Early start, again, 5 p.m. on NBC Sports California. Of course, come back here for Teal Town After Dark. And until Sunday night, keep it real, keep it Teal, keep it real Teal. We will see you after the Sharks beat the Ducks on Sunday.
Subscribe.
Good night, everyone. Subscribe right now.